Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
The Guru back again for UFC 291. Dustin the Diamond Poirier taking on Justin the Highlight Gaethje for the BMF belt in Salt Lake City. Can't forget about that altitude, baby. We've also got your light heavyweight title contender eliminator, Jan Blachowicz, the former champ, Polish Power, taking on Alex Potam Pereira in his light heavyweight debut. To get down to this summer blockbuster pay-per-view, we brought the BMF of MMA Twitter and DFS himself, Big Bad Brady. What is good, my brother? How are you feeling?
What's up? I'm feeling great, and that's because we have a stacked card from top to bottom. I mean, typically there's one fight on the card where you're like, oh, I'm not watching Norma Dumont versus Chelsea Chandler, but this week there are no fights like that. I'm gonna be sitting there watching every single fight. There are no food breaks, there's no shower breaks, no breaks. I'll be watching every single fight. This card's so good.
oh yeah, I'll be locked in at Casa de Guru. We'll be getting it popping, and you know what that means. It's going to be a hell of a show. I can't wait to break it down. But the one thing we ask before we get into all these shenanigans, please be like our awesome people in the chat. Throw a like on the video. Please subscribe. Let us know in the comment section what your best bet is. And, we're trying to get that push to 500 subscribers. So it would mean so much if you guys could just hit the subscribe button and do everything you can to support the channel. Best bets, best gets, always free. So without further ado, baby, what we all came for. The BMF, WTF, it's the lightweight main event. We got Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje. And, oh, man, I mean, if we're not getting fireworks here, we got the diamond versus the highlight. Whew, I mean, it speaks for itself. You go by the tail of the tape here. Gaethje 2-inch height advantage, Poirier 2-inch reach advantage. They're the same age. What more can you ask for? I mean, they're going to go in the middle. They're going to throw down. I feel like we're getting an exciting fight no matter what. I'm having a tough time settling on a side particularly. But, man, why doesn't this fight at least make it over 2.5 or the championship round? So, I mean, for me, I think we get violence. But like we saw in the first fight, it took until the fourth round to find a finish. The over 2.5 at FanDuel, I took it -118. It feels like that's the best play for me here. And I think that as the pick, Poirier's patience and boxing on the outside and ability to check leg kicks and use his offensive wrestling a bit more efficiently, I got to lean Poirier for the pick. But I'm not trying to lay my money on chalk here on this fight. So I'll take the over 2.5. What do you got, Guru?
I came in with you on the over 2.5. I believe we got -118. And I believe that number has increased from there to like -125. So we'll see where it goes. I do really like that. Both of these guys, while yes, they are both absolutely violent killer assassins, they're both durable and tough as shit. And they both come with a lot of heart. And honestly, what you've seen in Justin Gaethje's successful fights as of late is his patience. You've seen him exercise a little bit more patience, a little bit higher fight IQ, even possibly, perhaps. So, Dustin, he's shown an ability to kind of weather the storm. I kind of forgot, since I had watched that Chandler fight live and didn't necessarily remember it from watch. I mean, it was really, truly 1-1 going into the third, and Chandler made a mistake, overzealous, slamming him for that takedown, and Dustin just capitalized from there, and Chandler was done. But yeah, that second round, I mean, Chandler just laid on top of him. Obviously, we don't expect that here from Justin Gaethje, but just not necessarily what you want to see from Dustin. So, especially after watching what happened with him versus Oliveira, where his gloves getting fingered, and he instead of going for staying up, he goes for takedown. Horrible. Anyway, over 2.5. I really think that there's some value there. I think we get to, like you said, TV, some championship rounds. Very curious to hear what Brady has to say.
Yeah, I think the over 2.5 hits. I'm personally picking like a late third, like early fourth round finish. So I agree in that standpoint, but I did attack it from a different angle. I'm with, I can't play a money line here. I'm gonna pick Poirier, but I see this being like a very close fight. I feel like this fight can go a lot of different ways. In a fight like that, I don't really want to lay like minus 150. So it'd probably be a dog or pass if anything. But what I did was I like the under 4.5, and the fight doesn't go to decision here. I just can't ignore these numbers. I mean, these 5 round numbers between the two. So they have 18 combined 5 round fights, and 16 of those have finished inside the distance. That's 88%. I was expecting to see a fight doesn't go to decision around like minus 350. But it's only like minus 205, minus 215. So I played that. The two fights that did go the distance were on the Dustin Poirier side against Max Holloway, who nobody's finishing Max Holloway, and then Dan Hooker, who's very, very durable, or at least used to be very, very durable. And Justin Gaethje's all 8 of his fights have finished inside the distance, and he's been finishing all of his losses. So although I do agree with it going over 2.5, I'm playing it the opposite way and going with the under 4.5, and the fight doesn't go. Not playing aside. If I did, it'd probably be Justin Gaethje, because I see this being a very close fight with both guys having just a ton of opportunities.
Yeah, 100. In a coin flip fight, you kind of want to take the odds where you're getting better price than a coin flip. And Justin Gaethje gonna show some damage, and you saw Chandler have some success with the striking against Poirier. Poirier had to come back with the big boxing of his own, which you'd have to expect a lot of in this fight.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I definitely also see Brady's side of things here, because looking at Gaethje, I mean, if he's losing, it's never been by decision. He's never been to the scorecards if he's losing a contest. So if you are on the Poirier side, you're probably on him inside the distance. And yeah, Poirier's been able to kind of weather the storm before, but I mean, Gaethje hits hard, man. And you saw Poirier really get hurt at times in their first matchup. You got to imagine durability is only going on the downside. So as a parlay piece, totally feel you there, Brady. I'm gonna go the Daz method. I'm gonna be clenching. I'm gonna need my I'm gonna need my beta blockers and stuff, sweating that over 2.5. So we'll see how it goes. So shout out to everyone in the chat. First off, Lou Betcha. Yeah, it is kind of crazy. I mean, Brady in this economy, that is a big pull. Daz,
huge pull.
The GOAT. I know he's out there in the park with the dog, smoking some of that grass. Let's go, Daz. Love you. Always supporting the show and everyone in the community. Anthony also, always in everyone's chats. Appreciate you, man. And Jew, the Boot Boys all day. Louisiana. One of the other oldest friends of the show, Jew. Make sure you're following him if you know him on Insta or anything. But he's one of the original OGs of our followers. So moving on to our next fight here, we got Jan Blachowicz, Polish Power, versus Alex Poatan Pereira. Oh man, moving up to 205. Pereira. I mean, how many months has it been since he was knocked out cold against Israel Adesanya in the rematch at middleweight? But moving up weight here, taking on Jan. Jan is now 40 years old and coming off a fight where, I mean, it was a draw with Ankalaev, but I mean, as that fight was going on, it was looking dangerously close to Jan being finished down the stretch. Pereira, though, I mean, we're not expecting him to go out there and offensively wrestle and get the takedowns going, but I mean, the boxing power that Pereira has on the feet and the technical ability to work to the body and use his kicks, mix in the boxing, I think he's much more dangerous with the left check hook than Adesanya was. So I think moving up from 185, he has a bit bigger of a frame to fill out into. And I think working with Teixeira, someone that has submitted Blachowicz in the past, gives him a leg up from at least an experience standpoint. I do think if Jan actively goes to wrestle, he should at least have some early success with it. But at 40 years old and someone that really hasn't actively been shooting takedowns in recent fights, that's not really where I expect Jan to go here. I think he does a great job checking leg kicks, and he is a better striker than given credit for. But, man, I think Pereira's just got such a distinct power advantage on the feet here. And I think this could end up looking a bit like the Thiago Santos fight, where it gets into a bit of a firefight and Jan loses a bit of his sensibilities and finds himself, at the end of a finished loss. And I wouldn't put it past Pereira to use a little grappling if Jan's able to survive the knockdown. But yeah, I'm not crazy enough to say Pereira submission. I'll take Pereira by knockout, and especially catching some dog money here, I'll take the shot. So what are you thinking, Guru? What do you got cooking here?
Well, this is one of the more interesting fights of the night, obviously, as your co-main event. But Alex Pereira, I've got a unit out on him at plus 110, which is obviously beat a little bit of line movement. Um, I think he's the more dangerous fighter at this time, right? Polish power is, to me, has been a little bit of a thing of the past. And then if you look at who he kind of beat, right? Like, is it a little bit overstated? Luke Rockhold, Corey Anderson, who he caught, that's fine, and Dominic Reyes. Dominic Reyes has shown to not be very good, especially at least in the chin area. So possibly a little overstated there. What I kind of like in this fight, I like the over. I like fight to start round 3 at plus 100. Like, I kind of think it takes a little bit of time. I think both guys are durable, especially what I saw with Alex Pereira. Yeah, he got slept, but I like to think I've watched enough Izzy fights. I really think it was weight cut related. He caught him. He didn't see it. It's always the fight punches you don't see coming. It's still knockout of the year. I swear I'm not trying to take anything away, but you can't tell me that the weight cut didn't affect that. I think he's fine. And I kind of like him to like win a decision here or something insane. And like just kind of outpoint, because Jan does like a kickboxing fight essentially, and you're not gonna out kickbox Pereira. Even Izzy had trouble doing it. So that's kind of where I lean with it. The one counterpoint I do have to you, TB, about the wrestling is you said he hasn't wrestled in his last fights. You don't want to wrestle Magomed Ankalaev, Alexander Rakic, or Glover Teixeira. Those are not 3 guys that you want to engage on the ground. So that's maybe why he was willing to use it versus Izzy, and that's why he won. So in that respect, I'm a little concerned, but Glover Teixeira in the corner, dog money. Yeah, I like Pereira, but good Lord, what an exciting fight. Brady, please. I'm really, you're one of the guys that I swear that I listen to. I don't watch a lot of MMA stuff. I watch you on Saturdays, man, to help get my shit thinking clearly. Because I'm like, all right, well, where's Brady sit on this? So, man, I really want to hear what you got to say.
Well, you're not gonna like this then, because I'm on the other side of you guys. I mean, I don't disagree with anything you guys said. I think for me, it just comes down to the game plan of Jan Blachowicz. Is he gonna go out there and strike with Pereira for 3 rounds? If he does that, I think he either A, like you said, loses a decision just by getting out volumed, or B, potentially gets knocked out because Alex Pereira does hit like a truck. So that's kind of where I'm struggling. I haven't bet anything on this fight yet, and quite frankly, I'm not sure if I'm even going to bet this fight, because if I knew the game plan of Blachowicz, it would make this fight so much easier to break down. Is he going to wrestle or is he not, is the big question. You mentioned he did against Adesanya, had success. If he doesn't wrestle here, I think he's quite frankly an idiot. So we're going to find out. So I don't know. I'm kind of looking at, waiting to see where this line goes. If I could get Blachowicz at dog money, I'll probably pull the trigger on that, but I don't know if it'll get there. I was looking for maybe a Blachowicz submission prop at something crazy, but it's only a plus 550, which is horrible. And then I also might sprinkle some Blachowicz sub props because, he is a black belt in BJJ. I just did not like what I saw from the grappling with Pereira in the Adesanya fight. He gave Adesanya his first takedown and only takedown in the UFC, was making a lot of mistakes on the mat. And I think if Blachowicz gets in those same spots, he could sub him. But, does it go to it is the big question. So nothing here from me yet, but I am tempted on the Blachowicz money line, the sub props, and I might sprinkle the sub 2, sub 3, Blachowicz sub 2 plus 1,800, Blachowicz sub 3 plus 2,800. And by the way, Pereira sub 3 plus 9,000 and Pereira sub 2 plus 6,000. So those are kind of wild. Nothing on this fight for me. It's a great fight, but I don't know. I mean, I wish I knew the game plan here and make it a lot easier.
I feel like, but that's kind of why I want to almost attack it from like a over 1.5 type of route, like a fight to start round 3. Like, I think even if with some of the grappling, first off, he's going to be tentative and respect the power of Pereira.
Yeah, you got to.
And then, like you said, he's a black belt himself. So even if he has to work the takedown, it's not like he's going to lock it in immediately. He's going to have to work for it, I think. And it might take some time to get there. And that's what I mean, listen, Yeah, you just can't bank on it though, can you?
Yeah, I will say in the Adesanya fight, Blachowicz goes 0 of 1 on takedowns for 0 seconds of control in the first 2 rounds, and it takes him until the last minute of round 3 to land his first takedown of the fight and carry out the top control until the end of the round. I'm not convinced that he gets it started early, but one of the factors that might push it that way, I mean, Adesanya only throws 30 total strikes in round 1. So, I mean, Pereira is going to be in his face throwing. It's not going to be a patient pitter patter from Pereira. That much I can tell you. So, yeah, I think overall, I totally see the Brady aspect, but yeah, I'm going to take my little sprinkle. I love it. Hey,
But
Cody,
you're a degen.
yeah, I'm a little degen, but we'll
We
keep it
all
light.
are.
Look at this awesome looking Casamofo. Great show. We love you. We love you, Cody. Make sure you guys are following Blood Money MMA Bets. Awesome guy. Great dude, great content. And hey, let's keep this thing rolling. We got our next fight. Oh man, we got Tony El Kukui Ferguson versus Bobby King Green. The matchup everyone's been clamoring for.
Is
Tony
that really
Ferguson.
where they put this fight? They really put this fight next?
I thought it was Thompson, but
So did
Oh
I.
shit! Did I
Yeah, you probably did. Knowing you.
did I hit double skip?
Did you? It's Thompson and Pereira next.
Yeah, we both hit next slide, or maybe I double clicked it
I
because I
didn't.
have it there. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Boom.
Excellent.
I double clicked. Oopsies. We got Wonder Boy, Stephen Thompson versus Michel Pereira. Demolidor. So, I mean, Pereira is going to be 11 years younger in this matchup. He's got the 1-inch height advantage. Thompson, 2-inch reach advantage. So those things even out a little bit. But, I mean, from physique, I mean, Pereira is absolutely gigantic for 185. I will say, against the people that do choose to wrestle Thompson,
185?
170. My God, I'm all over the place here. But anyways, I mean, Pereira should be a 185. But yeah, so the dude's huge. He's huge, man.
He's 1 inch bigger than.
But like physique and thickness, when you see them next to each other at face-offs and the size of Pereira's back, it's just how can you trust this guy to wrestle? And two, how can you trust Pereira to have the gas tank to use wrestling in Top Game for 2 rounds? You can't. So are you picking Michel Pereira to win a 3-round striking battle from distance? It's kind of Pereira knockout or bust if you think he's going to have a shot in this fight. And I mean, Wonder Boy shown he's still got the quickness. He's fighting in the 30-foot cage. So, I mean, I'm not about laying chalk on Wonder Boy at this point, but the line keeps on sliding the other way. I took a little Michel at plus 170 early, but
when are we going to let this Michel Pereira knockout phenom, when are we going to let it go? All he's done is beat up my boy, who I love roasting more than anybody, Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts. Dwight Grant, Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts. I love roasting these guys. Like, that's all he did. All he did was knock him out. That's it. That's it. It's been 5 straight fights of decisions. And a rear naked choke in round 3 of Imadaev.
Did he tap? Did he really tap?
It doesn't even matter, does it?
No.
That guy's so bad. So I came in thinking that I wanted to take a dog shot at Michel Pereira because he's explosive and younger and could have this power. And when I go back and I watch the tape and I really think about it, Wonder Boy really only struggles with like spam grapplers and somebody really way more explosive than him. And yes, Michel Pereira could possibly be more explosive than him, but he doesn't have necessarily he's not gonna find the range. What you see in Michel Pereira on tape is he needs to get comfortable to set up. He doesn't feel comfortable moving around too much and hitting him. He really wants to set up his shots and set up his power. And what Wonder Boy is best at is using his long-range weapons, keeping people at bay, touching him. That's going to sap the gas tank of Michel Pereira. And I think, like Blood Money Cody said, Wonder Boy is just going to Wonder Boy this fool. And that's really what I see. When you take a straight kickboxing fight to Stephen Thompson, he wins every time. And that is what Michel Pereira is going to bring. So if you could tell me that he's going to shoot for 3 takedowns, I'd be like, okay, maybe that dog shot at plus 170 that TB's got, maybe that's way better. But plus 130 here, I'm certainly on Wonderboy minus 150. I like the round 3 decision prop. So I'm also interested to hear what Mr. Brady's got to say.
Yeah, so I'm betting on most fights on this card, but this is the fight I'm just not even touching. Yeah, plus 170 Pereira would have probably been interesting, but I can't bet on this guy ever. I actually retired from betting on Michel Pereira a long time ago. I mean, this guy's fight IQ's terrible. He has those 3-minute dance routines. We are in Utah. We are in high elevation. If he does a dance routine, in Utah, there could be some serious problems
How
here.
about a backflip?
Yeah, a couple backflips, some cartwheels, some Superman punches. I don't know.
Run off the cage.
Yeah, running off the cage. I don't know if it's going to work in elevation here. And yeah, the path would be to mix in takedowns, and he can wrestle. I mean, he's got a takedown in pretty much all of his UFC fights. It's just in elevation, can he keep that up across 3 rounds? And I can't trust him to do it. So at plus 170, I was like maybe tempted, but I think I'm just gonna pass on this one. I think it is a close competitive fight. Maybe Pereira does have success early, mixing some takedowns, but do expect Thompson to be the better fighter. Round 2, round 3, might look at it from a live betting standpoint. If Thompson loses the first round, which I think is very much possible, maybe take a look at live betting Thompson, maybe even plus money. So I'll probably look at that. But other than that, it's a pass. It's hard to bet Michel Pereira fights for me at least.
So
it is.
Any interest in my prop though? Wonderboy round 3 decision plus 110.
Yeah, it's a good way to get plus money on it.
Yeah. Well, so here's my thought is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, whenever he's fought guys that kind of like to be on the back foot and also play a counter game, I mean, it comes to a really low output fight. I mean, we're looking at like the Darren Till matchup, the Tyron Woodley matchup, even Pettis, I mean, ultimately, okay, yeah, I mean, solid amount of volume going into there. But, I mean, we've seen Thompson land significantly less than 50 strikes in a 5-round fight before. So would I be surprised if Michel Pereira, who's landed over 100 strikes in 3-round matchups, playing off the back foot, if his straight punches might not have a little zip on him? I mean, but listen, Wonderboy Thompson starts working the body.
I just don't think that's how it works for Wonderboy. His defense, he doesn't really get hit. So I think if Michel Pereira is high output, that means Wonderboy's going to hit him even more. And if Michel Pereira is cautious and is low output, then I think Wonderboy is still just gonna just outpoint him. But like Brady aptly said, and don't forget, Michel Pereira off to a fast start, possibly winning round 1 to your point, kind of what you're making, TB, and then Wonderboy kind of stealing it back as the fight goes on. But Utah judges, what do we know about Utah judges? They're probably Mormons. Like, I don't who knows what's going on. Or they'll
be on the Stephen Wonderboy Thompson side.
Listen, they're probably flying Derek Clearly in on a fucking red eye. He's gonna be half asleep, man. Nobody's gonna know what's going on. Sal Diamato's jerking off under the table, so who cares? Well,
hey, listen.
The only time Brady said stay away, so.
The only time Stephen Thompson's been knocked out was a Superman punch off the cage. I'm just saying, Michel Pereira loves that shit.
Dude, if it happens again, that way, that would be amazing.
Oh God, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
That is fair. No, you haven't heard that anywhere else. So
no, that's a good question.
Got to tune into Chronic Combat for shit like that.
If you're not careful, I'll be jumping off the walls in Guru's house trying to land the Superman punch finish. So you never know. But yeah, I think I'm gonna keep my dog shot. I gotta trust my huevos sometimes.
You beat the line movement.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm like. At the end of the day, if I keep on doing that consistently, because there's a couple other spots where I did a little something like that this week. Trying to use my noggin to use a little more tape study, a little more critical thinking rather than delving into a lot of the stats like I was doing before. So we're on to our next matchup here now that I'm in the correct order. We got El Kukui, we got Ferguson back in the UFC for some reason. We got Bobby King Green. Off of interesting headbutt decision making by himself. Oh no, it was an elbow. No. It was a flying headbutt, Bobby. And he's like, why was it a no contest? It's like, well, you shouldn't have dove at him head first when we have slow-mo replay to confirm these things. Anyways, so what happens in this matchup? Ferguson, I mean, he looks like so slow and bad reflexively these days. He doesn't look like a real athlete anymore. And I kind of liked him like the idea of him at 170, but he just looks so slow and bogged down and in horrible shape that maybe having to cut down and be in better, like maybe he'll look like he did
said he was eating slushies, whatever that means.
eating
for that
slushies.
hit.
Okay.
So he was not. He said he wasn't taking the fight seriously.
Well, I mean, against Michael Chandler, the dude was winning the first round and kind of hurts Chandler a bit, get some stuff going, makes him wrestle, right?
Yeah, I guess he wasn't
I
taking
don't
the
know.
Li Jingliang fight seriously, and then didn't take the Diaz fight even like took it even less serious. I don't know what that means. I don't know
I
what
don't know.
really weird stuff. Because Derek Lewis said some shit like that too. We'll talk about, but like, what the fuck?
But did Bobby Green even look good against Jared Gordon before he
No,
decided to go flying headbutt?
That's the big problem. No, and that of course is the big problem. But we were on Jared Gordon because he's a good counter striker and is able to switch up his style a little bit. So
Oh no,
and that line was a little crazy
Green.
Too. You were? I
took
Jared.
I was definitely on Bobby Green, but yeah, I mean, it was definitely a flying headbutt that should have been a no contest. Anyways, here, I mean, Bobby should be able to use his boxing, but I mean, the dude's giving up 6 inches of reach, and Okakui could be going for some leg kicks. Bobby tends to fight super close and kind of seems to just kind of be there for the money at this point. I mean, who the fuck is playing Bobby Green at minus 410 in this economy? Lou, can you tell me, do you have the money for, like, does anyone have the money to be throwing and burning on Bobby Green at minus 410? So I honestly can't see myself coming to bet this fight, but I mean, maybe a little grandma's couch cushion action to think about Tony Ferguson, but for God's sake, I mean, pick Bobby Green and don't bet on the fight, perhaps. Well, I mean, what do you got, Guru? Am I seeing it wrong?
I don't know. I really don't think. Maybe listen. Brady said that he's got a bet on most of these fights, so we gotta get moving to fights he might have a bet on. I don't know that he's gonna have a bet on this one. My thought is if you're taking Bobby Green, you're taking similar like I'm thinking Wonder Boy, round 3 decision. I think Tony's still tough. He still didn't get submitted by Nate Diaz till round 4. Michael Chandler's crazy fucking explosive, powerful front kick to the face, knockout of the year, nuts shit. I don't think Bobby Green has that going on. So I like the fight to go. I probably like to go the distance.
He's not going to wrestle him, right?
No, they're going to put on a show and be weird. But at the same time, Al-Kukui likes to fall to the ground and be stupid. And he looks so slow, man. He still spins around, but he does it so much slower now. It's not the same. So I know some people taking value shots on Ferguson. I get it. I just I don't know. I don't see it. But those tickets hit, man. So somebody tell me something. Brady, tell me something.
Yeah, I was thinking about maybe taking a big dog shot on Ferguson, and then I watched him against Diaz, and he looked awful, man. I mean, he looked like bad, like very, very bad, and he didn't get any younger since then, right? He's now 39 years old. He's taken a ton of damage.
DUI.
Yeah, he had a DUI. There's a
bad one. He flipped the car.
He did. Yeah, I mean, it's bad, man. Now he's talking about the media day saying he's in his prime. No. Yeah, I can't get there on Tony Ferguson. Should you bet Bobby Green at minus 410? Never against anybody, like against anybody ever. But I think he does win this fight. I couldn't bring myself to even think about betting on Ferguson after seeing how terrible he looked. In that Diaz fight. But I'm with you, Guru. Instead of laying the minus 410 on Bobby Green, I did the round 3 decision, got it at plus 100. And then I also sprinkled the round 2, round 3 KO because I think Tony Ferguson is so done that I could see like a mercy stoppage after he gets hit in the face 150 times in that third round. So I think Bobby's going to put it on him. Probably decision, but maybe a third round late finish as well in play. So give me the third round decision, probably my favorite spot on this. Like I said, you're getting somebody in Bobby Green at minus 410 and turning it into about even money there.
Yeah, and you got the best of the line. I have both books that I see it at is minus 115. So I don't hate even money-ish minus 115, but you're paying the vig that Brady didn't have to pay, and that's why he's one of the best in the game. So I fuck with that.
Drinking contest.
Yes. We got to even out the odds.
You like that?
Oh, God. Shut up,
a drinking
Luke.
and driving contest.
Happy to see that.
Video
God.
game. Don't actually. We're not promoting drinking and driving.
Oh, Christ. All right.
The video game one. Mario Kart.
Beria. Oh, yeah. All right, hey, we got a welterweight matchup here. We got Michael Maverick Chiesa versus Kevin Trailblazer Holland. I mean, Maverick and Trailblazer kind of the same idea when you think about it, right? Like the nickname, like what they mean, right? Kind of the same idea.
Kind of, but also yeah.
Not really, but like
They're
kind of.
also both NBA teams, which is interesting.
Ooh, wow.
The
So
Mavericks and the Trailblazers.
we have a really interesting matchup here. Well, Michael Chiesa, 35 years old. So he's going to be 5 years older. Kevin Holland, 2-inch height, 6-inch reach. But there's really one question that you have when it comes to a Kevin Holland fight. Can his opponent effectively wrestle, and are they going to wrestle? The answer is unequivocally yes in this spot. So Kevin, have you been working on it? And does the move down to 170 make it a little bit easier for you to stuff the takedowns and get up from bottom? Remains to be seen. Alex Oliveira in some good spots at the end of round 1 in their matchup. I know Kevin said he was all good, but I mean, Michael Chiesa's got some wrestling. So a few weeks ago, me and the Guru were looking ahead, and we decided, hey, someone at plus 150 looks like a little bit of value. So we're going Dallas. We're going the Mavericks. Michael Chiesa
Washington.
Hey, 2 rounds out of 3. Give me some wrestling, baby. He's been out for a bit though, so I am wondering where he's at. But at dog money and at plus 150 being a little bit of line move, I like the idea on Chiesa here because, as Daz says, another unreliable fighter in Kevin Holland. Is he going to make a pact not to engage in the stand-up here with Chiesa? Like he said, he wasn't going to do any takedowns against Wonderboy. I don't know, man. Give me Chiesa here. I got him.
It's also a battle of the tequila commercials, right? Because he had one with Gaethje and Holland has one with Wonderboy. Very interesting. Wow. Yeah. So I just think for Michael Chiesa, right, it's just kind of interesting how the last 2 fights have really panned out for him, right? He's fighting Sean Brady. For whatever reasons, he doesn't get his grappling game going, but he is kind of hurting Sean Brady in the striking pretty significantly, even though he's not that great of a striker. And then he's really coming on late in round 3, in round 3, because he's done so much damage and he's finally getting his own wrestling going. And it's just kind of too little too late. And then versus Vicente Luque, another guy he's, striking with, doing decent, kind of gets popped a little, kind of trips even more, but then he finally gets the takedowns in a good spot, and Vicente Luque darces him, just sneaks that in out of nowhere. I don't necessarily think that happens here, but I did really like Michael Chiesa at plus 150 because I just felt that Kevin Holland, right, is not necessarily trustworthy in the takedown department, and I thought that was a good value shot on that number, and obviously at least some CLV at plus 125. I guess somebody agrees with us, but we'll see how that goes. I just felt, again, Kevin Holland also didn't, obviously broke his hand, but didn't succeed versus Wonderboy, which is another reason why I like Wonderboy in his fight, right? Because Kevin Holland, big, strong, athletic, long, right? What would Kevin Holland versus Michelle Pereira be? That's a really good fight to me. Like, what would you guys line that? So
Holland minus 150. Also, my other question, didn't he say his hand was kind of still broken against Pons and he couldn't really use his hand still?
Yeah,
and
he's a nut.
It's been 3 months since then. So it's probably like
still
a bit more healed,
yeah.
But like
he's
how
training
much sparring?
And he's training on it. So it's probably never really fully healed, right? Like he's probably just one of those nuts. You can't know what these guys are going through.
What do you got?
You gotta get to Brady.
I mean, yeah, I agree from a money line standpoint. It's a dog or pass. I mean, there's 3 fighters on this card who I refuse to ever lay chalk on. That being Michelle Pereira, Bobby Green, and then Kevin Holland. Oh, and Trevin Giles. So 4, I guess. I mean, just some terrible fight IQ, terrible decisions in there. And Kevin Holland is definitely one of them. So yeah, dog or pass from a money line standpoint. I did play this a different way though. The spot that I like is, instead of at this point, they have the fight doesn't go to decision in this fight at like minus 280, minus 250. I like the fight ends by submission instead, around plus 200. These guys have 10 finished losses, 8 of which come by sub. That's 80%. Kevin Holland's only knockout loss was that corner stoppage in the Thompson fight. And then you have Chiesa. His only knockout loss was a doctor's stoppage. So neither guy's actually ever been knocked out. I see this fight primarily playing out on the mat. Chiesa leaves a lot of openings. And makes a lot of mistakes on the mat himself, and so does Kevin Holland. So I think across 15 minutes, there's going to be multiple submission opportunities from both sides. So that's kind of how I'm attacking this fight. It's probably my favorite spot. But I agree, money line, it's dog or pass, just because you can't lay chalk on Kevin Holland, especially in this matchup where he has shown that hole in his game. So I like the fight ends by sub, though.
What was the line on that? Fight ends by sub.
I got it at plus 200. I'm not sure if it moved, but
it's a nice line.
It's dirty because you're like you said, it's like Michael Chies's, it's like his kryptonite. I love wrestling, but I can't stop a submission. What do I do? It's not ideal. So yeah. And Kevin Holland gets tired and he gets all sleepy. So he's like, all right, you can tap me out if you really want.
Yeah, he's been sub 4 times, Holland.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
4 times? Oh.
Yeah.
Oopsies.
According to Tap, it says 3.
Yeah, I must have missed something. I had 1 KO, 3 sub, and 5 decisions.
Dorsed by Hamzat.
There was the Brennan
Rear
Allen
naked
one.
choke, Brennan Allen. Rear naked choke, Rafael Lovato Jr. And that's all I see on Tap.
Yeah, it's 3. It's 3, my bad.
All right, that's all good. They both like being sub.
Mm-hmm.
They
That's
do,
the key. All right.
They really do. Well done, Brady.
If you guys haven't done so far, before we carry on, do the thing, throw a like, please subscribe.
Definitely.
And if you're somehow not following Brady, make sure
somebody's got to be following. 12,000. What do you got? 12,000 subscribers right now. You're killing it, bro.
Sheesh. Killing it. All right. And make sure dfsbythenumbers.com also. Make sure you get that premium content.
Oh yeah.
All right. So here we go. We got Gabriel Bonfim Mahitinha versus Trevin Giles. Policia.
Policia.
Right? Yeah.
I smell bacon.
Yeah. All right. So listen here. I feel like Trevin Giles, if you allow him to fight at an extremely slow pace and don't get in his face and put on pressure, he can have a solid fight. But if he's facing anyone with like legit skills and volume and pressure, he just crumbles every time. I mean, he has Duplessis kind of in a bad spot at points, just put to sleep the second Duplessis is able to land an explosive counter. He has Michael Morales in a deep arm triangle attempt in early round 1, but once it's like, oh, he defended the choke and we're back on the feet and I'm in a terrible place. And then, I mean, you just see it over and over in his career. He's having success against Meerschaert before he's sitting on top in round 3 and goes, oh, here's my chin. Gets choked out. I think Bonfim has the ability to either submit Giles with that the guillotine, very, very tight, made Lazez roll immediately over to let him get top mount and finish it. Lazez is a solid enough grappler in his own right, historically. So I feel like that squeeze had to be real tight. We've seen Bonfim so many submissions win in his career, but also on the feet early against Lazez, the way he was landing that made Lazez shoot for that takedown kind of shows that I feel like Giles could even be finished by knockout here against Bonfim as well. So I would say like Bonfim inside the distance rather than specifically saying knockout or submission. And I also have Bonfim in a little parlay because I feel like he's one of the 2 more reliable legs this week. So even at minus 325, I found another leg to get him with that we're going to get some plus money here.
Listen, man, Giles got hurt bad by Preston Parsons, especially in that person. Dropped, hurt. Like, I'm what do you guys think? I don't even necessarily think that Giles won that fight versus Preston Parsons. It was close.
It was close.
It was
could have
close.
went either way.
Could have went either way. So I'd take that. So I really like Bonfim this week. In my notes, I have him very clearly listed in bold as the much better Bonfim. I think me included got a little carried away when his brother fought a couple weeks ago. And TB was not one of those people, though. TB was not one of those people, though. And I should have, been on Saint Denis, man. That dude's a fucking savage. And I knew that, too. I just kind of felt the age thing, and I thought the hype train. Yeah, I felt a little bit of like.
What'd you tweet this week to reply to me, Guru? What'd you say?
Yeah, I said that a cop is not a special forces operative. So I really expect this bomb theme to get through the law enforcement this week. What do you think, Brady?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. A spot that I had circled after taping this fight was Bonfim inside the distance. Was going to smash it if I could have got a good price tag, but it's not a great price tag. Minus 190 out there is the best price. I was hoping for minus 150. Maybe I was being a little optimistic. Minus 165 at the worst. So can't quite get there. What I'm probably just going to do is maybe just parlay the fight doesn't go with something. Bonfim 100% finish rate in his wins. Giles 100% finish rate in his losses. So kind of covers both sides. If Bonfim was to, I don't know, get finished somehow, I don't think it happens, but I think Bonfim gets it done and inside the distance. Just don't really see any way to really bet this. Was hoping for just a much better price in that Bonfim inside the distance, but they're not giving it to us. But I think he rolls here. I think he can knock him out. I think he can sub him. So I don't really want to look at the knockout prop, which is plus 150, or the sub props plus 150, the knockout props plus 270. I think it could be both. I lean sub, but yeah, I don't know. Inside the distance, I don't know if I want to lay that much chalk on it. On an inside the distance prop, it just seems kind of nuts.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. Laying that type of chalk, especially when crazier things have happened. Why couldn't Bonfim win a decision here for the first time?
Exactly.
In general, sometimes it's getting a little too cute, and when they're not giving you a line that's even. When you're starting to get more specific and the line's still not even that close to plus money, sometimes you have to take a step back. It's like, let me reevaluate, find a little something else. So
what do you guys think of a shot on, and it's probably not worth it. It's Bonfim and under 1.5 at minus 125 on DraftKings.
It's
like, I feel like,
I think it's early too, but I don't know.
Are we not a little bit afraid if it gets past that? Giles is surviving, he's getting up, he's hitting him back, like what? Or is Bonfim just on top, ragdolling him, looking for a finish? Like how do we, like,
he's got multiple round 2 and round 3 finishes, so I'm not
but
worried.
Not really though. I mean, there's a couple in there, but majority of them are round 1, a heavy majority.
The Crusader with Giles and yeah, I think it's going to be like Mushroom said.
Officer down. That's funny.
Well, that's what happened one time before he went for a walkout and he like passed out. So they canceled the fight. So is Trevin built for the moment here against the prospect Gabriel? I don't think so. Appreciate anyone going with the dog shot here, but I think after watching the tape, there's nothing that advises me to do that. Oh God, we got the pinnacle of the male human physique.
7 round 1 finishes for Bonfim.
Yeah, he's got a lot more than 7 wins though.
I think it's 14 wins.
Yeah. Half of his wins are by round 1 finish.
Yeah, but that means he's been extended out, before. So anyway,
one. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna move on. You go.
Yeah. All right. So we got Derek Lewis, the Black Beast, at plus 185. Versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima Pesao at minus 215. I gotta say, when I placed the bet early on De Lima versus Waldo Cortez Acosta, and I had him at minus 140, and then the line started moving, and I got really sketched out, and I actually cashed out of it. I still picked De Lima, but I didn't feel comfortable with the bet on him at like minus 190 against the fact that something just felt off against Cortez Acosta. But hey, at the end of the day, I mean, he ended up performing. It's like I'm getting one of those similar feelings now where like early in the week, it was like, oh yeah, De Lima should win this fight easy. He's like minus 130, minus 140. All of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, we're at minus 215 and it's De Lima. And like, what advantages does he really bring into this fight except his recent winning streak? And then you go back and you look at the names that he's recently winning against. And oh my God, it's we got Big Ben Rothwell, his retirement fight, right? Andre Arlovsky. We've got Maurice Green, Ben Sassoli. So, I mean, he's put together a bit of a streak here. But, I mean, listen, Blagoy, the boy, Ivanov, is able to pull off a unanimous decision victory against him recently. That's his most recent loss. I think Derek Lewis.
Pure cardio. He guts it out.
Yeah. I mean, listen,
He's a beast.
Is Derek Lewis going to get finished by Rogerio de Lima here? Yeah, because if he's washed, he's washed, and I get it. But I think I'm passing on this fight, and the under 1.5 being minus 200 or whatever. Like, I'm almost tempted to be like, this fight's going to go over 1.5.
Yeah,
I know exactly. So I'm a pass.
I would imagine that Brady might be passing too. I
take one pass.
The one thing that you obviously have to think about is Derek Lewis by knockout, right? It's his win condition, and at plus 185, that's fucking nuts, right? I don't know what the price is, but I'd have to imagine it's pretty decent. Don't have anything on FanDuel. Checking DraftKings. Let's see. I'm sure there's gonna be something. DraftKings has him at. It's right here. Plus 240. So that's not bad either. Don't hate that. That's his win condition. That's how you have to play him. I have a unit and a half on Rogerio de Lima at minus 113 or whatever, which No, I don't have minus 134. I have better than that.
You do?
Yes, I do. I literally have minus 113 on Rogerio de Lima.
Holy moly.
So I don't know what to do with it. They're letting me, I could cash out at,
oh, wow, yeah.
20% win, but like, I don't know. So I'm not super sold on de Lima, but like you said, like, is he actually just going to finish him? Is Lewis just completely washed? He said, whatever he said he passed out cutting weight. He cut 25 pounds in 3 days, felt like shit, had injuries. He's not done. He's got plenty in the what are we talking? What? Wasn't the last one the one that he wasn't going to fuck up on? Like, I don't know.
Cyril Gahn, Sergey Pavlovich, Sergey Spivak. I mean, all these guys bring.
It's just okay, but Gahn, I feel like, all right, Gahn just outpointed him and picked him apart, and Spivak was just a bulldozing. Spivak was the worst one of them all because I just don't know that. I mean, is Spivak really that good?
Well, he's a really technical wrestler and submission artist at heavyweight, which doesn't generally happen. But I think most importantly, I got to hear from Brady on this fight. What do you got?
Very, very good point.
Yeah, I mean, minus 120 around there. De Lima made a ton of sense. He has a lot more paths to victory. Maybe he can win by knockout, decision, submission. Minus 215. It's getting kind of wild for a guy that if this gets to the second round, like, I don't trust him at all, especially at elevation. This is a guy who the majority of his wins do come in the first round. We've seen a couple different times where he has fallen off a cliff if it does reach the second. So yeah, I can't lay this price tag on de Lima. I see like minus 240 right now on FanDuel. I think is kind of ridiculous, but yeah, for me, I think de Lima does starch Derek Lewis. I think Lewis is at the end of his career. I question the durability of Lewis. He's been finished 9 times. I question the heart of Derek Lewis at this point. I question the willingness to battle through any adversity whatsoever. And I just think once Lewis fills a couple of those leg kicks, he's going to be forced into a firefight. And at that point, I think he probably does get caught and put out. One of these guys is durable, and that's de Lima. De Lima's never been knocked out in the UFC, and he's been in the UFC for like 10 years, which is crazy because this guy's fought some hard hitters, especially early in his career. And Derek Lewis just at this point gets finished all the time. So I think de Lima starches Derek Lewis, and I think it might even happen by leg kicks. I don't think Lewis is going to react well to those leg kicks. So give me a de Lima first round knockout, but at minus 220 to 240, absolutely not. Minus 120, yes, but I missed the line by a mile. So at this point, just gonna pass.
I like it. I like
well
it.
Done.
Smart man.
Well done as always, Brady. You're good at this, man. You should do this on your own time, man. You're good at breaking down these fights.
Oh. Wow, high compliment. High compliment.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure Brady will take it to heart.
Nonetheless.
Yeah, right. Oh god. All right. So,
the fight that everybody's been waiting for.
Yeah, right. We got a chance. Whenever you get a chance to bet Roman Kopylov at -200, you definitely want to take that opportunity.
Because you
Uh,
definitely won't look like what his hair is. You definitely won't look like Bozo the Clown.
yeah, Roman Julius Caesar Kopylov versus Claudio Claudio
Rivera.
Jungle Fights Rivera. Um, I tend to think that Kopylov is getting overvalued for the fact that Puna Soriano was completely gassed out 3 minutes into their first round in their last fight. Um, and facing the retiring Alessio Di Chirico in the fight before that. I'd like to remind you that while you get points for knocking down Albert Duraev, you also got, you lost the next 2 rounds, and just didn't look so hot going forward from there. So I'm just struggling to see where at this point I should be taking a Roman Kopylov -200. But however, you look the other way at Claudio Ribeiro, who's taken like 3 rounds to finish high school janitors on the regional scene, and then he's facing like Joseph Holmes in his second fight and getting the win. But like Abdul Razak Al Hassan like showed him what it's like to be in the UFC. I think Kopylov is a solid striker. And I
But he's
think
not
he's
he's not
improved his.
Abdul Razak Al Hassan though.
No. I mean, and he finished like Puna with body shots. I think if he starts throwing those body shots, I think that gives Rivera the chance to capitalize on. Oh wait, Kopylov was the bigger guy against
Of
Puna.
course, then and
Ribero's
not for,
bigger here.
right, and that
I
was
don't
the other
know,
thing
man.
for Rivera. Rivera was the smaller guy versus Joseph Holmes. Had to weather 2 minutes of Holmes holding him against the cage, which he did, and then beat the piss out of him. So,
Right.
I kind of feel like UTB in that like Kopylov is overvalued here. His striking is pretty legit though. It's gotten a lot better, and he's very fast. He might have the speed advantage here, which
Yeah.
could be interesting. Um, I just feel like both of these guys have shown to be a little bit of turtles off their back. Like neither of them can really like defend takedowns excellently or get up from them very well. So I think if either of the guys decides to offensively wrestle, it'll work out positively for them. And I'm kind of feel like Claudio Ribeiro might be the one that's more willing to grind him up against the cage. So I lean with a dog shot, but I kind of like the over 1.5 better at minus
Yeah.
140.
Ooh.
I think that's kind of how I want to slice this. Because I think it takes some time. It's the same way I sliced it on the Joseph Holmes fight as well with Ribeiro. The over 1.5, maybe even a fight to start round 3 at plus 100. So maybe something like that. And definitely want to hear what Brady has to say.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean you can't lay -210 on Coppola, but I think this guy like has made serious improvements from when we first saw him against like Carl
Definitely
Roberson
has.
and Albert Duraev. I mean, he just looks like a completely different fighter. Yeah, I was impressed with the striking in the DiCirico fight, and just even more impressed with the Soriano fight. What I like here is it's kind of weird. There's like 2 spots that stick out, and one is that over 1.5 rounds, just because you take a look at Kopylov in pretty much all of his fights, even outside the UFC. He's not like a murderous power puncher. He's a guy that kind of breaks you down. He'll mix it up to the body. He'll hurt you. And it would be kind of like attritional type knockout. And that's in a lot of his fights. And I can definitely see that happening here. That's actually what I'm picking, like a late second round finish for Kopylov. So I think the over 1.5 makes some sense. It'll be an absolute sweat because both these guys are dangerous, especially Ribeiro early. But I think that hits. But I also think the fight doesn't go hits. And I also like the fight ends by knockout. So the fight doesn't goes -275. The fight ends by knockouts -200. Get you a little bit better of a price here. Looking at their wins, 21 total wins between the two. And I think 20 come by knockout. And then one of these guys won a decision. I think it was Kopylov before. So I think somebody has get knocked out at some point. I'm leaning Kopylov to kind of break down Ribeiro, finish him second, third. And I'm also be probably sprinkling the Kopylov 2-3 if the prices are right here. But I think it's kind of Ribeiro early or Kopylov late.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I end up taking Kopylov as the pick, but I really like that Guru over 1.5. It's feeling awfully spicy to me. even if Fibero does get the finish, I feel like it's taken him a bit to finish people regional and UFC
I mean,
level.
he killed the guy on Dana White Contender Series, but that was a meme KO. Like,
I mean,
that
he
was
like did like
awesome.
a spinning back fist and
That
just
was
like
awesome.
yeah.
Boom. The
It was
smack was just awesome. That's a great KO.
All right, well, hold on, Brady. I know you have to get running. Make sure you guys go check out his DFS show tonight. They're going live at 9, so make sure you go check him out after this. But Brady, any final thoughts on these last 4 fights you wanted to fit in before you have to head out? Anything catching your eye specifically?
I'll do a quick breakdown these last 4. Flowers, Matthews. I had the under 2.5 like circled all week. They opened it up -150. I didn't get there, and then it went to -175. I went to bet it, and then they like took it off. And now the under 2.5 is like -230. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to play Flowers around 1, and then I'm gonna play Matthews around 2, round 3, and hopefully I think one of those hit. And then the other 3 fights are the Vergara Salvador fight. I lean Vergara, but I can't quite get there. Probably going to pass on that fight. The Semmelsberger fight, I like Semmelsberger, but I got him much earlier. And as far as the Maverick Cachoeira fight, I like Maverick by sub there.
Beautiful. Brady, appreciate you so much. Make sure you guys are following Brady if you're somehow not already. And we're going to keep on carrying on, but make sure you guys hop over to the Brady's live DFS stream coming up 9 o'clock.
Sir, guys, thank you guys for having me on. I'm down to come on whenever and talk fights. It's always a fun time, and hopefully it's I know it's going to be a great card, but hopefully we can cash some bets on Saturday.
Let's go. Love having you on. And hey, listen, anytime you need somebody on a Sat, anytime,
Sure.
You got 2 of us. Anytime you may need.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Be good,
Appreciate
buddy.
you, Brady.
All right, we'll see you.
Excellent.
All right,
Brady,
so
good man.
The Dog. Make sure you guys are following him. His link to his premium content in the description. So make sure
That's where you want to be. Everybody watches him for free. You want to be on that premium content.
Oh, baby. So here we go. For the chronic combat perspective, we've got Jake Matthews -245, Darius Flowers +205. Same age, Matthews 2-inch height, 2-inch reach advantage.
Celtic Kid versus Beast Mode. We could take.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Slow your roll, Skeeta. The Celtic Kid versus Beast Mode. Darius Flowers, my boy, who I'm pretty sure follows me on Twitter. So I like. Oh, wow. I like Darius. Darius. Is
okay. Cool, you and Darius go way back. I see.
Yes.
On a first name basis, even.
Yeah, me and D Money.
I mean, listen, he certainly looks like a much improved fighter from like his Contender Series appearance compared to some of his regional tape. But I mean, listen, he was kind of like a fade going into the matchup on Contender Series based on, he's kind of finisher bust, all that stuff. And, he's been sub 4 times.
Where is it? There
it is. Yeah, there you go. Hey, Darius, appreciate you. So, yeah, listen, I mean, Matthews here, -245, perhaps a bit wide, but I mean, the guy taking the fight, he was supposed to fight Baeza, probably a more dangerous matchup in Flowers, quite frankly, on short notice here. So I'm not parlaying or playing Jake Matthews, but I think this fight should end inside the distance. You're just getting no value on it, like Brady said. So if you want to take some of those round prop flyers, Brady had a great idea. And yeah, Matthews round 3 decision, Matthews by sub potentially. We could be looking at some interesting stuff. What do you think, Guru?
I think that violence is the answer in this fight.
Violence is never the answer.
That's actually pretty true. I think violence is the answer in this in this scenario. I don't know that I necessarily love the 1.5 perspective of it, but I do think that somebody's getting finished. Darius has unfortunately shown himself at times to be a little chinny and a little easy to submit. He's got 3 knockout losses in boxing as well. But at the same time, Jake Matthews is somebody that if you swarm him with a lot of pressure, you can fuck his day up. Ask Matt Semmelsberger, right? So you can also take him down and have your way with him. Ask Sean Brady. So Darius Flowers is not only somebody with explosive boxing and an ability to smash you on the feet, but he's also somebody that is also willing to change levels and stay on top of you. So I just don't trust Jake Matthews at minus 245 in this economy. Jake is not necessarily like, I feel like his finish equity, all of it just got overblown. Like he finished Andre Fajalio, who's one of the most one-dimensional strikers I've ever seen, like ever. Like that includes like Chuck Liddell. Like he was so one-dimensional. It's bad. And he finished him with a beautiful right cross. That's great, man. Enjoy that 50K. It was a wonderful knockout. But like not finishing Diego Sanchez, Emil Weber Meek, like Rostam Akhman, his finish versus Shinso Anzai. Oh, all right, bro, you're a savage. Like your decision win against Bojan Velikovic? Well, bro, like nah, just nah. So Darius Flowers has a shot. I want my boy to pull it out. So nothing would make me happier to see some violence, especially some flower power. So can't take Matthews, and I don't see any value in it. Like sub, that's the only thing. If you can get what's the sub prop?
I'll tell you right now. But
plus 180. They blow it up. But Darius Flowers by sub is plus 1,600, and Jake Matthews has been sub 3 times himself.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. Darius has only got 2 submission wins, and like the one that he got was kind of like more of an injury from Gogoladze than anything. So
yeah,
I feel like, listen, I like the over 1.5, quite frankly.
Over, yeah, that's interesting.
I feel like if anything, Jake Matthews just disappoints in that he can't find a finish, and if not, I feel like he's been durable enough at the UFC level that when he's been losing, it's either late because of the grappling pressure, like Sean Brady or Anthony Rocco Martin. And like his last early finish loss was like against like Kevin Lee and James Fick, which, I mean, they had some size and he was a lot younger back then. I mean, we're talking like 7 years ago at that point. So I think if anything, this fight's going to get extended on. I think we're getting some value on the over. I think Flowers is going to come in ready to perform. I don't see a reason why not. But that doesn't necessarily mean I'm picking him to win.
Yeah, no, and exactly, Dirty Reg. And this is a very good point. When we flesh this out, we're talking like the line kind of will force us to do like you can just pick winners, right? Like we always say, just bet winners, just pick winners. Like, yeah, I wish it was always that simple. Sometimes the line makes us do shit. Would probably be the simplest way I could put it. But no, I think Jake Matthews does get the win. Finding betting value is very, very important. But,
just don't fall in love with your hands, Jake. I mean, you have a good wrestling and grappling background, and I feel like when you play on the feet against guys like Semi or, I mean, listen, when you're facing Sean Brady, you can't rely on your grappling. I get it, but yeah, it's tough. So I do think that he has the experience and at the same age as Darius Flowers, but having that many fights at the UFC level, I mean, you gotta lean towards Matthews here for sure. So on to our next matchup here. In the flyweight division, we got CJ Vergara versus Vinicius Salvador. So CJ, not OJ Vergara, and then Vinicius Ronaldo Salvador. Did you see his haircut in the last fight against Altamirano? He had like the Ronaldo look, like the Brazilian, the little triangle up in the front.
I did not.
It was a terrible haircut, but like that's what he was going for. At least it was like he basically, like, if you take the headphones, like this was like his haircut. It was like that.
That's bad.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, anyways, yeah, the picture doesn't quite reflect it. The Sure Dog did not update for the ugly haircut. But listen, maybe he's making better life choices at this point. But I think coming into this matchup, he's 5 years younger than Vergara. He's got the 1-inch height advantage, 2.5-inch reach advantage. And Vinicius Salvador, I think he's kind of dangerous all across 3 rounds, showing that he can land some big strikes from awkward positions. But, I mean, if Vergara was to really commit to an offensive wrestling game plan, he could potentially have some success. I just don't see that as part of a real part of his game plan. And I think that his striking on the feet, his defense, leaves a bit to be desired in my thoughts. I think that Salvador is going to get a chance to land some big strikes on him. And I don't think that Salvador is just going to completely slow down unless Vergara were to get some top control. So I'm going to be taking Salvador. And listen, I got him. I think I beat some line movement once again. So right now, yeah, he's at plus 120. I got a little earlier. I think I got like a plus 150 or so on that. But yeah, I think that we've got the guy with the better finishing potential. And Victor Altamirano is like a really tough dude to really hurt and finish on the feet. And he's got such an awkward style and good offensive wrestling. And Salvador just didn't have the defensive the offensive wrestling himself, like Tim Elliott did, because that's a huge hole in Altamirano's game. I'm not saying Salvador is coming out here and wrestling Vergara like Tatsuro Taira, but I think that Vergara just doesn't land with any real potential, and Salvador's not just going to wilt like Daniel Lacerda de Silva did in that matchup. Like Lacerda has Vergara hurt, and if Salvador has Vergara hurt like that and on the ropes, I think he's going to be able to build off of it and find a finish and still come out the next round. If he doesn't find the finish, still able to fight. So I'm taking Salvador here, especially at plus money.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the way that Vergara is running from Daniel Lacerda in that fucking fight is insane. And I just Salvador's much bigger, right? So if he's striking him like that, he's gonna find a much harder time to get away. And that's kind of where I ended up on Salvador at plus 150. I understand taking Vergara, like I do. I mean, he's never been knocked out before. He's got a lot of heart. He's weathered through a lot of different things, right? To even get to this position itself. So yeah, I really do like Vergara as a person, but I took a value shot on Salvador here. Plus 150.
Awesome. I love it. On the same page. Yeah, I get that he lost to the guy same size as CJ in his last fight. I think that Altamirano has been more unorthodox striking, more volume, and better offensive wrestling than Vergara. And I think that Vergara is shown to not do so well when guys get on the front foot and get pressure against him. But I get it. I just don't get playing Vergara at favorite odds here. He could win the fight. He could win a decision. I think. I just don't think that he's finishing Salvador by any stretch.
Yeah, he was also Pick'em versus Altamirano as well.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So our next fight here, we got Matthew Semi the Jedi Semmelsberger versus Uros Medic, the doctor. The doctor is in.
The doctor. It's such a weird nickname.
Yeah, so that one is so good. Yeah. Hey, appreciate everybody. We're all allowed to have some different opinions as long as we can cash out.
Not only did he fight a few 0-0 guys, he beat Shannon fucking Ross, which means he might as well be 0-0.
Went to war with Shannon Ross.
Went to war with Shannon Ross while he had appendicitis. So yeah. Not a good look.
Not ideal.
Probably should just be a stay away. Might just cash out even. I don't know. Listen, I love some CLV, right? Again, CLV makes you feel good and it makes you feel like you read some shit right, but there's plenty of CLV tickets that sit in the trash, and that's why Dirty Reg, that's why this handicapping shit is so tough. Yeah. It really can be. And that's why we do it, and that's why we practice. We don't come out here like, that's why we bring in guys like Brady. Let's just be honest here. Because we want to hear what they have to say as much as you guys do.
We want to talk about some CLV. Matthew Semi the Jedi Semmelsberger, second leg of my 2-leg parlay with Gabriel Bonfim, and then add Semi. I got him at minus 160, but hey, at the current odds, you might still be able to get pretty close to plus money. I think Medic coming up weight on short notice, someone that was fighting down at 155 not too long ago, and Semi, he makes the case for a guy that could potentially be moving up to like 185, quite frankly. The dude's pretty big, and Semi packs a punch. Same with kind of, like what gave Medic some trouble with Jalen Turner, those straight punches down the middle and the cardio and ability to kind of like survive the onslaught. Because I think, it could be a little bit even throughout the first round. But I think as this goes on, Semi's either going to hurt Medic in that first round, or as the fight gets on later, I think the reach advantage, the straight punches, and the power is just going to be a distinct advantage. And Medic taking this fight on short notice, coming up, I mean, it's just
This
I got
it's like
semi.
and that's why the line has completely snowballed. Anybody that got line movement early on Matt Semi was a freaking genius, man, because you paid attention to all the things you're supposed to. Semmelsberger's got the UFC experience. He's been more active. He just went to fucking war with Jeremiah Wells, who's a savage. Uros Medic, right, is a guy that's moving up a weight class after fighting a guy at lightweight who moved up a weight class from featherweight. He's a featherweight that moved up to lightweight. And now you're moving a lot. It's all no good. Semi's got the pace. Semi's got the power. Semi's got the pressure. And Semi's got the wrestling advantage. Like he's got the pace there too. He's a savage. So I really like Semi to get it done. I don't necessarily love minus 205. And I think that there's going to be some violence in this fight. So finding the right prop that maybe works for you is important. But I like Semi, pick Semi, maybe even parlay Semi if you're a fucking degenerate, but I like Semi.
Oh yeah, shout out Zach from 4 Ounce of Freedom Pod. Semmel's a CFFC guy, easy pick. Oh yeah, he's faced such a high level of competition, like killers like Chaos Williams, like blanking out, but I know he lost to Alex Morono, but I mean he's faced absolute killers, man. I mean he faced Jake Matthews, AJ Fletcher, Jeremiah Wells in his last fight. He's the one knocking down Jeremiah Wells on the feet. You know, I mean, and still losing the matchup, but some of those guys that he's faced, I still think Semi beat Wells, even though he was taken down repeatedly. Hell yeah, Reg.
Wow.
And I just must say,
tell that to my bet slips. I was so I thought he might do. I was like, damage, come on. Yeah. Wells is a beast, bro.
So want to give a shout out to everyone in the chat, but Reg, appreciate you. Thinking we give Brady a bit too much credit.
Yeah,
Thank you
really
two are just as good. Listen, I mean, I want to give credit to Brady and all that, but I also want to give much appreciation and shout out to you because we do put a lot of work into our craft and we've spent a lot of time like breaking down these fights over. Hey, I mean, like even before we did this show, which is now 3 years running, we've been doing this together for at least 5 years now, just like talking about fights, picking fights, breaking them down, and it's so much fun doing it with you guys.
But even the truth is, even if we're doing it, let's call it 3 years, and that is what it is. I mean, somebody like Brady, man, has just been doing it so much. He's just been doing it a lot longer. And I just respect his hustle a lot, too. He's been a nice guy. Yeah.
No, of course.
All of them have been in the space.
Yeah.
Everybody we've had on the show, I really don't think we've had an issue with any single person we've ever done a show with. Everybody's been so nice. And that's been one of the most fun things about this podcast. We haven't had haters. It's been knock on wood. Like everybody's just been, it's been a really fun process doing all this. It really, really has been.
I think
you guys are a huge part of that.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like, honestly, it wouldn't be the same without like all the amazing people we have on, because that's like where we keep on learning and filing down our process and having all the amazing people in the chat that support us and also give us your guys' ideas. Like it's really been such an amazing part of like building our betting process and becoming better as, picking fights and everyone supporting the community. Like Guru said, like even the occasional hater here or there, like it's far outweighed by the amazing support we've gotten from all you guys. So thank you.
Any props in this fight? Do we have props? I
don't see any props. I don't know, man. I don't think that they had anything posted yet because it was a little bit like short notice.
No, they don't.
But yeah,
I kind of like. Nah, I don't really like anything. I want Semi by finish, but they're probably gonna juice it to the tits.
And maybe Medic has better durability up a weight class without cutting as much weight. And I mean, he's never lost by decision though. So, hey,
yeah, I mean, he's only lost once by submission, and so
hell yeah. So next and last fight,
Miranda Maverick, short notice.
Miranda versus.
She's on short notice too.
Yeah. Miranda Fear the Maverick versus Priscilla
Zombie Girl.
Yes. Cachoeira. Cachoeira.
Brady always finger fuck your eye socket. Cachoeira.
Oh my God. Yes. She'll do whatever it takes. But I gotta say, she has made a move to training with Colby's gym, right? Colby Covington and team out of MMA Masters, and definitely seen. Hey, she's won 4 out of her last 5. Violence, able to walk through, land amazing strikes, but the real question is what happens when she gets down onto the mat. And we saw against Jillian Robertson in her second career submission loss that she'll do whatever it takes to try to avoid the submission. But yeah, catch you cheating. Thank you, Mushroom. Yeah, catch you cheating. Will do whatever she can to try to get out of those subs. But the submission, if you have the offensive wrestling, is still possible. But Miranda Maverick coming into this fight, once again, 4 inches shorter. She's going to be 5 years younger, but they do share the same reach. Cachoeira should light her up on the feet. Maverick never been finished. So does Maverick just get the takedown, get the back, get eye gouged, then get the sub? Is it the Shauna Young? I'm sorry, the Sabina Mazo fight all over again?
I definitely like Miranda Maverick by submission. But at the same time, you can get like under 2.5 minus 110 if you're really that scared about Miranda somehow being finished, which would obviously only be by knockout. Miranda Maverick has 5 losses, all 5 of them by decision, never been finished. And again, and her decisions have been to, let's just be honest, I guess other than her third loss ever to Brogan Walker, they've all been fairly high level competition. Deanna Bennett, who's a good wrestler, grappler, and fights out of Bellator, top 5 there. Macy Barber, top 15. Erin Blanchfield, top 5. Jasmine Jazz Divigius, top 15. Priscilla Cachoeira is not there. So Miranda Maverick should roll.
Yeah. Definitely makes sense. But in Miranda Maverick, how fast did she just come back from? I mean, she was like, I couldn't see out of my eye in the last round.
She's fine.
Against
She's
Jazz Divigius. And then it's
she's
like,
being
oh,
a baby.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
A month later, she's gonna just go out and sub this girl. If she can't do that, she gets a decision. So sub her decision for Miranda.
Under really 2.5.
But it's a real make or break moment for her, because if she can't come out here and break her, it kind of reminds me of like, let's take a second though, because the line isn't the same. It kind of reminds me of like the Cody Brundage situation where like, I'm just gonna come out here short notice and break Sadiq Dumas. We're not gonna I'm gonna smash his ass. And then he couldn't, and it was like, whoa, bro, and like he looked terrible, and it was a real moment for him. Miranda, right? This is a real do or die moment for her, because she needs to continue to separate herself from the rest of the pack, and this is the rest of the pack here. So you need to make sure that you stay in the hunt of that top 15, and you can't be losing to Priscilla Cachoeira.
No. So I get it, but something tells me do not place your money on Miranda Maverick in this fight. I'm getting the feeling. Is it the Molly Meatball McCann feeling?
I mean, that would be the only feeling, that just somebody's gonna fuck their shit up.
Oh.
But that was real tape. I give you more credit for that because you just had the balls to do it. I really thought that she wouldn't fuck up the moment being the co-main event. But if anything, some people just aren't built for that pressure. And even though I guess she had kind of caught fire versus Luana Carolina and Goldie, like she just literally just doesn't train jiu-jitsu, like doesn't. I don't even understand. Just train arm, like it wasn't short notice. You have a whole camp. You don't even have to do anything. Keep the weight off and drill arm bars. That's all you had to do. And I mean, seriously, I'm not even trying to be a jerk off. Like, what else did you have to do?
Yeah,
crazy. So wild stuff. So, but hey, I told you we should have fucking played
Jasmine
Stoli round 1. No, I told you we should have played
Stoli
round 1 sub plus 800, and you're like, meh. And I was like, okay.
Oh yeah, because I had Stoli at plus 200 already.
Yeah, but what are you talking about?
I know. Missed opportunity from a grandma's couch cushion proppy perspective.
Made no sense. Anyway, Miranda by sub. Fuck this fight.
Fight doesn't go under 2.5 minus 110. I like that.
Great card, exciting card.
Hell yeah. So without further ado, want to say thanks once again to everyone in the chat. If you haven't already, please throw a like. It costs nothing. It helps support the show so much. It helps recommend it to other people by how many likes you get, how many comments. So if you could, after the video is done, you throw a comment in there. If you can make sure you hit the like button, it really does a lot to help, and it costs you $0. So just want to say thank you guys so much. Remember, we always got the best bets, best guests, always free. So hope you guys are cashing out this weekend because we're going to be having a good time. Guru, what do you got cooking, man? Take us away.
We got a lot cooking, man. We got a lot cooking. Thank you all so much for being here. Great card coming up. UFC 291 Summer Blockbuster pay-per-view. BMF, baby. Check out my co-host, TB Scouting MMA, Twitter Verdict, Instagram, and Tapology. You can find me, the Guru Scouting MMA, Twitter Verdict, Instagram, and Tapology. Guys, listen up. Next week, we will be going on Thursday at 8 p.m. to break down UFC Nashville. Corey Sandhagen, taking on Rob Short Notice Font down in the Music Town, Music City. Fucking awesome. Gonna be fire. Listen, we're going Thursday. I got a Wiz Khalifa Snoop Doggy Dogg concert to go, Chronic Conversation on. So can't be there Wednesday. Looking forward to that. And that's going to be sick. And we've got Timothy Troiano on the show. So his debut, looking forward to having him on. So make sure you tune in to get that, and we will check you next time.